Thank you, everyone, for joining us today on the beginning of something amazing that we've created for you guys. As you know, we all live in the online world, and it is the best and easiest place for us to build up our brands for us while we are building up our business to create an impact. When we are online, we can create and connect with anyone around the world. So today's session is about online branding. Today's session is the first of 4 sessions that we're going to be doing with you guys. So we're going to be learning about online branding today, and in a couple of weeks, LinkedIn, Instagram, and YouTube. So you guys can shine the light out in the world and create this positive impact. Everything we're doing is about the creator economy. We are all creators and innovators. So let's use this amazing creativity that we have to create a positive impact by using these online channels to shine our lights out there in the world and get the right eyes into the amazing work that we're doing. So today we have a dear friend called Sophie Bloom, who's a global entrepreneur and an expert in not just online branding, but also branding. She's worked with some amazing brands that I absolutely love. And I think she's been an entrepreneur from day one of her life because she comes from a beautiful family where her mom created an amazing business, which is known as one of the biggest and probably most incredible toy shops that we have here in Australia. So welcome, Sophie, and thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much, Paula. Lovely to be here.
Honored to be here. So, Sophie, if you could share your screen and then we'll get started. We'll just click and I'll do the little acknowledgement in the beginning and then I'll hand over back to you.
Okay. Now, my internet has just been a little bit slow today, so you might just have to bear with me as I just click through to it. Okay. Okay, can everybody see that?
Perfect. So before we start, I'd like to make an acknowledgement of country. Good afternoon, everyone. I recognize that we're all meeting on different Aboriginal lands today, and I'd like to acknowledge that I'm coming to you from the Darung Lang. I'd like to pay my respect to the elder past, present, and emerging, and to all Aboriginal Torres Strait Islanders people joining us today. Thank you so much for joining us, and we hope to create an amazing positive impact together with you guys. Next.
Okay.
So today is a series of 4 webinars that we are going to be creating for you guys. So please use your QR codes to sign up, and then please share this link with everyone so that we can engage and help as many amazing Australian students around Australia to connect and learn about online branding for now and for your future. Next one, Soph. So a little summary, as I discussed, we're doing 4 sessions. Just today's one is about online branding. The following one is about LinkedIn so you can stand out. Then the following one will be about Instagram and branding. And the last series that we're going to be doing this year for you guys is on how to become a YouTuber. Next one, Soph. So today's session is really exciting. Today's a summary of almost a year worth of curriculum that we've summarized into 1 hour. So we're going to be presenting for about 45 minutes, and then we're going to be taking questions. So we're going to be learning about personal branding and leadership. Then how you can do personality tests to see how you can stand out on social media. What is your lifestyle and how can you connect your lifestyle to this brand that you are creating online? Public relations and how to build a strategy. Branding guidelines so you can stand out. How to use Canva, which is an amazing Australian startup that is the easiest one for us to use and design and build our brand. How to create your first online campaign. How to create your bio. And lastly, tools for you to use across LinkedIn and Instagram. Next one. So a little bit about Soph. I've known Soph for many years. She's an incredible entrepreneur and she's worked with some of my favorite brands, like I was telling you guys. She's also taught in some of the best institutions of Australia, and she comes from a family of entrepreneurs. Soph knows everything when it comes to PR, on how to get your media attention, how to present yourself well at a face-to-face event, but most importantly, how to position you effectively into the online world. Next, Soph. So today, initially, Soph is going to be talking to you guys. I'll be participating, coming in and out. And then the last 15 minutes, we will be taking questions. For you to participate, so you need to sign in with YouTube. You can write your questions in the chat box at the bottom, and then we will be monitoring and reading them out in the last 15 minutes. If we're not able to answer all of your questions today, it's okay. We can put your email and then we can reply over email to you guys afterwards. So please send us all of your amazing questions so we can help you achieve all of your goals. Okay, over to you, Soph.
Okay, thank you, Paula. And thank you very much for having me here today. I'm really, really excited to be part of this workshop. I've never actually taught to high school students before. I've done postgrad, undergrad. So yeah, it's fantastic to be able to engage with students. So as Paula mentioned, I'm going to be talking about personal branding and leadership. And where do we actually start with this area? Well, first of all, let's talk about what a personal brand actually is. So it's built around you. You are your own personal brand. Your personal brand is your personality, your lifestyle, your interests, what you do, what you don't do. Basically, everything that makes you the person that you are is your personal brand. Whereas a business brand is built around an identity that you may create for your business. They can be quite similar and quite connected, but also quite different as well. But what we're going to talk about in this presentation today is how important it is actually to link your personal brand and your business brand, and how really you should always see them as connected and intertwined for various reasons and examples, which we'll go into later on. But one of the most important things that we want you to remember all the time is that as an entrepreneur, you need to live and breathe your brand. It needs to identify who you are. You need to identify who it is. It is really at the heart and soul of everything that it is to be an entrepreneur, is living and breathing your brand. So please keep that in mind. It's really, really important. But where do you actually start? Like, how do you actually define your personal brand? Well, it's not hard. The first thing you really need to just ask yourself is, who are you? And what interests you? How do you define yourself? What do you like doing? What do you not like doing? What are you passionate about? Where do you live? Where do you want to go? So it's all that sort of introspection that comes from thinking about who you actually are as a person, which helps you define your personal brand. Now, that may just sound pretty easy to do at the outset, but there are actually online tools that will help you work out what your personal brand might be. And the first of them there are various personality tests that you can undertake, which can help you clearly sort of define yourself. But the one that really immediately springs to mind, first of all, is called the Myers-Briggs Test. And some of you may be familiar with it already, as it's a very well-known online test that you can do. And basically, it's almost like a bit of introspective psychoanalysis, I suppose. It's a questionnaire on how you view the world, your attitudes to various things. And if you go to the website, what is it, 16collections.com, I think it is, that you can actually go and do the Myers-Briggs test there. It's really easy. It only takes a couple of minutes, and I think it will really help you work out how you can define your own personal brands, taking all different aspects into account. The next thing you need to ask yourself is, what's your lifestyle? What are you interested in? What do you love doing? I think sometimes a lot of people, when they're either developing their own business or choosing a career path, will often go, well, okay, what am I good at? And you may be very good at something, but you may actually not like doing it very much. And I think some people can get trapped into careers where they go down a certain path because they're good at doing something, and then they're actually not happy with their career choice. So as an entrepreneur, you really need to think long and hard about your own lifestyle, what you love doing, what's at your very heart and soul. There's a very famous saying from an ancient guru which said that if you choose a job that you love, you will never have to work another day in your life. And I think that is especially true for entrepreneurs. So now we're going to talk about your personal and your business brands and the benefit of actually connecting those brands and how you actually do it. And what I'd like to do, first of all, is show you some quite famous examples of high profile personalities who have created brands and connected them and are really, really great examples of people that live and breathe their brands. So up in the top left-hand corner, we have an entrepreneur by the name of Jessica Alba, who is also an actress. And she has created a range of laundry detergents, baby goods. They're basic, I suppose, home and lifestyle products. And it's called The Honest Company. Being a mother herself, when she became a mother, she became really passionate about the products that she was using with her children. And so she created this own range, which has been really successful for her. The woman in the top right corner is an actress by the name of Gwyneth Paltrow. And she has created a health and wellness brand called Goop. And Goop actually just started as her own blog. And it was literally just Gwyneth's sort of views on the world and restaurants that she liked and products that she liked and where she liked to go. And it's over the years, Goop's been going, oh gosh, I think for about 15, maybe 20 years. It's really, really become this juggernaut. And it's become this huge sort of health and wellness brand. But Gwyneth is still very, very hands-on and very involved with it as well. Personally, I love the travel section of Goop. Gwyneth always gives personal recommendations of places around the world that she's been to. And she just curates it beautifully. Bottom left-hand corner is Rihanna, the singer. She's got her own beauty brand called Fenty, which has been so successful. I think she actually hasn't recorded much music in the last couple of years. And then, of course, we've got Richard Branson in the bottom right-hand corner. He started the Virgin brand in the 1970s, originally as a music label, but then it's gone on to obviously become Virgin Airlines, Virgin Mobile, credit card. He's actually got 400 brands under the Virgin brand now, and he's worth over $4 billion US and is one of the most famous entrepreneurs globally. Now, obviously, it's very well for very famous people to create brands. I mean, they're famous to start with, so they've got luck in their corner. But what about if you're not so famous, but you still want to start a brand and you still want to connect what you're doing? We wanted to show you an example today, excuse me, of a woman, Adela Della Flor, who was at the Academy of Entrepreneurs, who loved food, loved to travel, but wanted to start a business, but wasn't quite sure what to do. Paola, do you want to jump in and tell the students?
Adela's story. I love it. So, guys, as we're talking to you guys about understanding your lifestyle, what it is that you love doing. So, Adela loved traveling and she loved food. So, she enrolled at Academy of Entrepreneurs with the idea of opening this amazing restaurant. And in day one of class, she said, I love food and I really want to create a restaurant, but I don't want to be all day in a kitchen cooking. And we're like, but when you start a business, you need to be hands-on and fully focused. And we realized that her passion for food was around travel. It wasn't about sitting in a restaurant or working inside a restaurant all the time. So we then explored, based on her lifestyle of food and travel, what could we do with it? So we explored the option of creating cookbooks from around the world, travel blogs, and then she came across these beautiful coconut balls that are 100% sustainable. So when the coconut, it's picked up mainly in Vietnam. It's taken out the liquid and used for coconut oil, coconut water, coconut milk, and so forth. And often the shell is thrown away. So these communities in Vietnam that were getting them, polishing, taking the fur out and putting a logo on, and we were able to bring them into Australia and sell them as sustainable bowls. And often when you're eating something so beautiful, what happens is you end up putting healthy food in. So she's combined her passion for food and travel with these sustainable coconut bowls. So nowadays she travels the world. So if you follow her on Instagram, you will see every day she's in a different city and she sells thousands of coconut bowls by putting different recipes that she tries around the world. So she cross promotes her lifestyle with this business. Guys, she started this business with $100. She made over $100,000 in the first year, and now she sells thousands, if not millions of bowls every single year. And this is why we're talking to you guys about online branding and lifestyle. And we super recommend you to do a personality test right at the beginning, because the more you understand yourself, the more you understand what gets you really excited up with energy every day to continue going, and you connect that lifestyle to something with purpose. When you are positioning yourself in the online world, people will connect with it because it's genuine. Because you don't want to build a business that looks amazing on social media, and when people see you face to face at the supermarket or at the beach, you have a different lifestyle. You need to have it all super aligned because everyone's watching us these days. There's cameras and phones around us all day long. So you want to build a business aligned to your lifestyle that does something that makes a positive impact. And online, you can promote it because it's a lot easier to promote something around your lifestyle and something you're passionate about. Every time Adela picks up a ball, she shines. And that's what we want you guys to do, is decide on a business idea and promote it online on something you're truly passionate about that is aligned to who you are, your personality, and the lifestyle that you want to have. So yeah, so we love the story. And I guess all of the students that come to Academy Entrepreneurs, we bring in this combination of lifestyle and passion. And this is why everyone's able to succeed so much faster than just building a business or building an online persona that is not who they are. It needs to be authentic, right? So it's so important.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now we're going to show you an example. Oh, sorry. Are you still going, Paula, or shall I move to the next slide?
Next one.
Next slide. Okay. All right. Now, obviously, there are examples of brands and products that would not fit well together. I'm sure you're probably all familiar with Kayla Itsines, the global fitness phenomena that started in Adelaide. You wouldn't see Kayla promoting a brand of cigarettes, for example. I mean, aside from the fact that cigarettes are illegal to promote and advertise in Australia, but you can see how, as a health and wellness guru, that it just would not sit for her to have any sort of connection with an unhealthy product like cigarettes, like vapes, like alcohol. So that's what you need to think about as well with your own personal brand and your company, that it's really got to sit very well with who you are, what you represent to the public, how you represent yourself to your customers as well. Now, there's been quite a prominent piece in the news media in the last couple of weeks about a major national chemist brand that was in discussion with a big international tobacco company about stocking and selling vapes, would you believe? And I find it quite amazing that this national chemist brand, which we won't name, was actually considering selling vapes as a health product. But when you got really into the story, what it was about was that the tobacco company was offering the chemist a lot of money, a lot of extra money above and beyond what they would normally pay to sell the vapes. So as a brand, sometimes you may come across various opportunities that come your way that have an incredible financial reward to them, but ultimately go absolutely in the opposite direction to what your brand is all about. It can be very tempting to go, oh, yes, I'll take the money. Thank you very much. But it can damage your brand. Now, with this national chemist chain, thankfully, the CEO came out and said, absolutely no way are we going to go into business with the cigarette company. He ended up going publicly saying they are our enemy. And then the Royal Australian College of GPs, which is the Doctors Association, they got involved as well. And they called the cross promotion an unholy alliance. So you can see here that at the end of the day, even though the chemist brand stood to get a lot of money out of this partnership, it would have very much damaged their brand in the long term to be seen to be partnering with a cigarette company. So, yeah, that's just something that we need to keep in mind in terms of make sure it's a great connection with what you do, how you do, and who you work with. All right, so we're going to move on to now my passion point, which is public relations. And I've been working in public relations for a few decades now. And it's something that I'm very, very passionate about myself. So for me, public relations is an art. And look, I think a lot of people think, well, what actually is public relations? And how does public relations differ to advertising? Putting it super, super simply, advertising is when you pay to have your brand out there. It could be advertised on TV, it could be a sponsored post, it could be online advertising, whereas public relations is more what they call below the line, which means that it's things like sponsorship, it's events, it's media relations, editorial, organic social media content. It's more that sort of organic endorsement, I suppose you could say. So ultimately, it's the art of communicating to achieve a business or a personal goal. And what I do every day is I work with my clients and talk to them about, okay, what do you want to achieve as a business? Like, who do you want to talk to? Who do you want to sell products to? Who are your customers? Maybe it's a public awareness campaign. How are we going to use communications to achieve that goal? And it's the same when it comes to personal brands, because ultimately in public relations, what you're doing is you're telling stories, and you're telling brand stories and people stories, so that audiences and customers can understand more about you as a personal brand or your company. So your personal brand is like a promise to your clients. It's that promise of quality, consistency, competency, and reliability. So you are giving, it's like when you make a promise or give your word to a friend or a family or a teacher, you're basically, it's who you are, and it's that real personal connection that you have, and it's your own integrity. So, keep that in mind. Your personal brand is a promise. So it's really, really important. So coming back to that first question that we touched on before, who are you? Again, this is, part of your personal brand as well. And another really important question, how do you want to be known? So think long and hard about that, because it's really, really important. And we're going to show you a quote on the next slide from a guy by the name of Warren Buffett. He is an American entrepreneur. He used to be one of the wealthiest guys in the world, but I think he's now top 10. But he came up with this really true statement. It takes 20 years to build a reputation and 5 minutes to ruin it. I would actually even expand that a bit and say it can actually take longer than 20 years to build a reputation, and it can take shorter than 5 minutes to ruin it. And I actually want to show you an example of something that happened recently, which is a really, really good example of that. So, but before I do that, the most important thing, and I know that I'm sure a lot of you are having cyber safety and cyber awareness classes at school. and that your teachers are telling you how important it is to think not twice, but 3 times, even more, before you do post or say anything. That is even more important when you've got your own personal brand and your own company brand as well. So here's an example of someone who is a really, really good example of why it's important to think twice or 3 times before you do post or say anything. Now, this guy is an actor by the name of Will Smith. And he has been, for those of you who aren't familiar with Will Smith, he's an American actor, and he's been working since the 1980s. He was on TV. He's been making movies for the last, 30, 40 years. And this year, he won, or he was up for the Best Actor Oscar for his role in a movie called King Richard. Now, at the Academy Awards ceremonies, where he won the Best Actor award, something else happened. So I don't know if this rings any bells with you, but the compere, who's a comedian by the name of Chris Rock, he made a joke about Will Smith's wife's hairstyle, and Will Smith went up and slapped him on stage. And I must admit, when I first saw this, it was so shocking that I actually thought, oh, it has to be staged. It has to be a stunt of some sort. But it wasn't. It was basically Will Smith having a brain explosion. And as a result of this, Will Smith has been banned from attending Academy Award ceremonies for 10 years. He has also had movie projects he was working on either cancelled outright or delayed. And not to mention, you can imagine the embarrassment that was caused to his family, really, and those people around him, because he basically resorted to violence on a very, very public stage, and it was a snap sort of thing that he did. So, a really good example of someone who, within literally minutes, undid 3 or 4 decades worth of good work. All right. So, next of all, let's talk about how do you want the world to know you? And fortunately, in Will Smith's case, he is now known as the guy who punched the other guy at the Academy Awards, rather than the work he's been doing. But what we are going to show you is we're going to show you some examples of an Australian influencer on TikTok who's doing some really, really amazing things right now and has built up a fantastic following. So I'm sure some of you are familiar with Fonzie Gomez. He is a TikToker, best known for his Q&As, his challenges, his interviews, and what he has done with his own brand. It looks very natural, very down to earth, very sort of spontaneous, but it's actually curated and prepared brilliantly. And he's got a real team behind him. I'm going to actually hand over to Paola now, because she knows Fonzie and she can talk more about what Fonzie does and how he does it.
Yeah. So going back to being an authentic leader, doing what you love, because you're going to shine and succeed a lot more. Most of us follow Fonzie and we love his work over TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram. And this Fonzie that you guys see on TikTok, he's the exact same person in real life. He is absolutely obsessed with the idea of helping others succeed, but also hearing people's stories. So if you ever have the chance of meeting Fonzie, you'll see he'll ask you lots of questions about who you are, what is it you like, and he's a very curious person. So he has created this movement around grabbing his phone and interviewing people because he's such a curious person. And now he's got almost 2 million followers on TikTok, and he represents some of our favorite brands that are extremely ethical brands. So I think we can learn a lot about him. He's a young Australian, down to earth, humble, hardworking boy that is curious. And he's used this curiosity to interview people, to ask questions on TikTok. And now he's one of our greatest TikTokers. So, Sophie, you can move into the next couple of
Mhm.
slides. So, what is his expertise? I guess his expertise is curiosity, because he's just this amazing, curious, ethical, and honest, hardworking Australian guy. And then next one, so, and what I love the most about him is his tone of voice. He's got the style that if you call him on WhatsApp or if you see him on TikTok, he's the exact same person. And I speak from experience. And this is what we want you guys to do. Do what you love. What is it that you love doing? What is the lifestyle? If you're curious like Fonzie and you're curious maybe about the sports industry, you could start something similar to Fonzie just in the sports industry. If you're interested in beauty products, similar to Rihanna, you can start your own beauty products line, or you can interview and be paid to advertise brands that are good on your skin and your hair, or whatever it is, the area of your expertise. So don't rush into building a business and building a brand around what you think you should be doing based on what other people are doing. Because if you copy someone else, people aren't going to believe in what you're doing and you're not going to be fulfilled. But if, like Fonzie, you do what you love, which is use your curiosity to interview people and build a business around it, you are guaranteed to find success. Success is a result of hard work by us doing what we love and continuously adapting and getting better at the things we're good at. So this is why we brought Fonzie in as a case study for you guys to look at, which personally, I think he's just an amazing Australian. He represents Australia so well. And I love following his TikToks because he's just genuine, cool, and down to earth in front of the camera and in real life.
So the other thing that we want you to think about as well is the brands and what they represent. So a brand is much more than a symbol or a logo. Now, when we look at these symbols and logos that we have on the screen here, if you look at each one of them, automatically you have feelings, thoughts, memories, associations, impressions, ideas that go with these logos. So, that is something that you own and you have, and it is your impression of these brands as a customer, as a consumer. So what we'd like you to do is kind of get on the other side of that. Now, if you own a brand or a company or a product or whatever you're developing as an entrepreneur, you need to keep in mind something very important. You don't own your brand. You may think you do, but your brand actually resides in the minds of the people who interact with your company. So just as you look at these and you think about, what do you think about when you see the H&M logo or the Nike logo? That is your perception of the brand as a customer. And so you need to remember that when you develop your own brand as an entrepreneur, it's all about how the people who interact with your company view it. In PR speak, we call these people stakeholders, as they have a stake in your business. So, yeah, please keep that in mind because it's very important. And the other thing to remember is that we are living in an age of this constant information flow. Information is everywhere. We are being bombarded 24/7 through our mobile phones, through social media platforms. Everywhere we go, there is a constant onslaught of information, messages, advertising. It's just this constant, absolute, overwhelming. We're just besieged with information. So it's really, really important that you define who you are and what your company stands for. And if you don't, other people may do that for you, and that may not be really what you want for your brand. So be as clear as you can and what you do. And that's why, again, it's really important for you to be passionate and to believe in what you do and to live and breathe your brand, because you need to be able to clearly define it in a public environment. So as an entrepreneur, what are the 4 sort of, brand areas that you need to think about or you need to build? Well, it's quite simple, really. There are 4 areas. So we've got here yourself, your company, your concept, and your community. Now, what's the most important part of these 4 triangles that we've got here? Which is the most important one? Of course, it's you. It's yourself. So you need to think about how it is that you define yourself, how you position yourself, and how you might put your own personal brand out there and across to your customers and to your audiences and to your communities, and be really clear and passionate and honest about it. Now, we're including as part of this presentation an activity, which we don't expect you to do right here and now, but maybe your teachers, you can do it after this presentation. It's a really cool activity. I love doing it. It's great fun. So it's looking at what we call the brand neighborhood and how you define a brand neighborhood. So really what you've got to do is you think about, okay, if I'm going to define my own personal brand, if I was a song, what song would I be? If I was a color, what color would I be? A fashion brand, a drink, a restaurant, food. If I had to sort of encapsulate my personality, how would I do that? That's how you what's called a brand neighborhood. And you can also do that for your business as well. Now, the other thing that you need to think about, which is really important in developing your brand, is how does it stand out visually? And that's where what's called branding guidelines come in. And this is like the visual representation of your brand. You know, what are the colors that you use? What are the fonts that you use? Are there symbols? Are there logos? What does it look like? And what are the sort of the rules around how you use it, when you use it, Pantone references? It's really good to get these nailed down when you first start as an entrepreneur, because again, it's all part of that sort of standing out to your community. The other thing that we wanted to flag with you today is what's called a massive transformative process. So what is a massive transformative process? So we're in an era in business where an individual can make a massive impact in ways that we never before imagined, or let alone achieved up until literally, a few decades ago. So companies like Google was created by 2 guys with laptops. Same deal with Facebook. Microsoft, for example, I was reading about Microsoft yesterday, and Bill Gates started Microsoft when he was 17 and in high school. So, in less than a decade, particularly with Google and Facebook, these companies have transformed how humanity accesses and shares information and how we connect and socialize. And the reason that this has happened was because they had a massive transformative purpose behind them. So an MTP is more than just a mission statement or a slogan to a company. It's what the particularly, for example, these founders, they were able to transform the world through organizations, but because they started with this massive transformational purpose. And we want to show you today an Australian example here, because it's all very well to talk about what the Americans have done. But I want to show you this incredible woman here. Her name is Ronnie Khan, and she has started a not-for-profit or charity called Oz Harvest. Now, I'm not sure if you're all familiar with Oz Harvest, but it's an incredible, incredible organization that prevents food waste. Basically, food that is going to waste in supermarkets, restaurants, that is absolutely fine food. There's nothing wrong with it, but they have to keep on turning the food over and basically it's going to be thrown out. Ronnie and her organization rescues that food and then gives it to homeless people or people who need to be fed. Started in Sydney, now a national organization, literally feeding hundreds of thousands of people, particularly with recent natural disasters as well. They have now corporate partners behind them as well. And the MTP for Ronnie happened when she had a bit of a light bulb moment. She used to organise events in Sydney in the 80s and the 90s. And for some of these really, really big events, at the end of the events, there'd usually be a massive pile of food, which was still perfectly fine, but was going to get thrown out because the event was over and no one had eaten it. And on her way home from organising these events, Ronnie would drive past homeless people around Woolloomooloo and various areas of Sydney. And she just couldn't believe the waste that was happening. In a wealthy country like Australia, people were still going hungry. So Ronnie literally would pack up the food herself and hand deliver it to homeless shelters. And then she realized that there was something really in this. And she knew that she was onto something. And then her MTP became Nourishing Our Country. So she's got this amazing juggernaut behind her now in Oz Harvest. And she's just doing incredible things. And yeah, she's a really amazing entrepreneur who I admire incredibly. We've got some recommended reading for you here as well. This is a great article. It is by Slim Ismail, Massive Transformative Purpose, the Heart of Every XO. Now, an XO is an exponential organization. And that is an organization like a Google or a Facebook that is 10, 20, 100 times more successful than their competitors because they've absolutely nailed what they do and how they do it. So take time to read this article. It's really great. The next one, which is also an exercise you can do, is the 3-hour brand sprint. And this is a really fantastic exercise that is great to do with clients or people that you're working with or just yourself. So it's got six steps to it here. So the first step is all about basically looking ahead. Look at where you want to be. Where do you want to be in 20 years? The next step here is about the who, what, why of your business. And the most important thing is the why. Then the next steps in it are all about defining your audiences, your customers, and what's important to them. And then also there is a sort of a value slide here. So this might be, how do you see your company? Do you see it as fun and relaxed or serious and political? Or is your company aimed at young people or older Australians? So doing this sort of brand slide here sort of helps you with the positioning of your company. And then finally, we've got here, this is basically where does your company sit, or where does your brand sit, I should say, compared to other similar brands in the marketplace. So it's actually a really easy and a lot of fun to do. So yeah, again, check it out. It's definitely worth having a go at. Okay, now we're going to talk about Canva. And I love Canva. It is just one of the best apps, I think, that have been developed in many, many years. And, we use Canva all the time in my company, in Blue Planet Public Relations. And one of the things that I really love about this company is that it is Australian. It is changing design and how design is done on a global scale. And it was developed by 2 Aussies living in Sydney. They're still in their early 30s. And it's so user-friendly, and it's just fun to use as well. So with Canva, as it says, you can design anything. You can do posters, you can do presentations, social media, birthday cards, logos, PowerPoint presentations, anything that really, really takes your fancy. And Also within Canva, it really covers all aspects of a company's brand identity. So it could be logos, it could be color palettes or typography or imagery or the colors that you use, the voice and the tone, all aspects of your brand, which is really important to the visual representation. And I want to give you an example here, coming back to Oz Harvest, of how effective and how powerful Oz Harvest is in its branding. It's got a really, really distinctive color in the yellow. It also very cleverly uses its mobile vans as almost like traveling billboards for Oz Harvest, communicating its key messages, its impact, what it's doing. And interestingly, the company that developed Oz Harvest's branding is an Australian agency, and I recommend that you check out their work. They're called Frost Collective, and they're here in Sydney. They do amazing, amazing branding work around the world, of which Oz Harvest was one of their jobs. So really worth having a look at that. The company's name again is Frost Collective, and they're at frostcollective.com.au if you want to check it out. Paola, is there anything else you want to add about Canva or about how people can create their first online campaign?
The good thing with Canva is that you don't have to have any design skills or any tech skills to make it work. Like they've got so many templates that you can play with, and once you decide on the template, they come with everything else from the PowerPoint to help you design your logo to choosing the images. So it's very self-explanatory. And what I do love as well is that we can go in, there's the Canva Academy. So you can go in and you can do some courses and get some tips, or go into YouTube for further tips as well. So yes, it's a very easy, I mean, you can be like in any stage of your business. And I find that their tools are always going to be useful for us in different parts of our business. You're doing a brochure, a flyer, a billboard, or some social media posts. So yeah, I'm a huge fan of it. And it's an Australian startup, and we need to support more Australian businesses. They're one of the best businesses we've ever had in the history of Australian startups. So go Australia.
Yeah, and it's just a lot of fun to play with. So I would suggest, just go into Canva and just explore and play and see what resonates with you and what appeals to you and to your brand. So okay,
start taking questions in about 2 minutes. You've got 2 minutes.
Gosh, okay, all right. I'll be quick. Just wanted to talk about collaboration as well. Is another thing you could think about as an entrepreneur, partnering up with other organizations. This is an example of when Netflix launched Stranger Things. They did a collaboration with Grilled. And those of you in Sydney might have seen the Stranger Things Grilled restaurant, which was in town. It was done up like the Demogorgon's cave. It was really cool. Think about with your company, do you want to collaborate with other companies, other organizations, a charity? It's always worth considering, but always keep in mind it's got to be in keeping with your brand. Here's some examples of other collaborations which have happened, obviously, with celebrities. And H&M, we've got David Beckham, Madonna, and Beyonce. So what they're doing here is they're both using strong brands to really leverage and to build off the power and the strength of both brands to sort of take them further. And your online bio. This is a really, really important thing to get right as well. So we've got here some examples of bios from Instagram. Now, I think it's important when you're starting out to really be quite clear in your bios about what it is that you do and who you are and sort of, what you stand for. When you get to the size of an Olivia Rodrigo, well, then obviously you can get more sort of, brief in your bios because everyone kind of knows who you are. So, and also look at Canvas here. They also really just sort of summarize it nicely. We're a design tool that makes it possible to design anything and publish anywhere. They keep it simple. All right. So, Paola, anything about short bios before we go into questions?
I think like everything that when we talk about design and branding and PR, keep it as simple and as authentic as possible, right from the heart, and go straight to the point to say, I'm here to offer this, so this is what I do unique, and try to shine in a way that looks different to everyone else using the least amount of words as possible. And I personally, I love bios that have little emojis. I find them very, because emojis can communicate so much in ads, like it just makes it young and cool and innovative. That's my tip around it. So if you guys follow me on Instagram, you'll see how I've organized my one, and it's normally like an emoji or 2 to 3 words, emoji 2 or 3 words. So I find that it just looks really nice. I like them in lines like you've got with the swimwear, just in lines like that. I personally like it a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. The other really important element for your brand and your brand building is to do your research, to look at the back end information, and to study the insights and to learn from the insights as well. Look at where things are working. Look at where they aren't working. Instagram obviously offers really fantastic insights, and these are tools which are absolutely invaluable in building your brand. So now we can probably jump.
Everything is live and on the cloud. Like when you use Google Analytics, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, the data that you see is what is actually happening. So if you make a post in 5 minutes, you can see exactly how many people have viewed, where are they coming, what is the age, what part of Australia they're logging in from, and then you can build your branding around what your target audience is enjoying. So you'll see when you post, sometimes you'll get 5,000 likes, and other times you might get 500. So you just go, what have I posted that got me to 5,000 that my customers are interested in? And how can I post more of that? Because that's what they're looking for. And that's how you grow your engagement and the algorithm organically to get more people to see you and your brands online.
All right. So I got the first question here in the chat. So let me read it for you. So Alba Ashanti, the question is, as a student, what is a good way to test your social branding?
Good way to test your social branding.
Yes.
Look, I would say that really, you should look at the response that you're getting. Obviously, insights are the key to that. If you really want to get behind what's working and what's not working, the insights will tell you. But when you say test, do you mean like market research? Is it you might want to talk to your family and friends about what they think works well, what their perceptions are? I suppose it really depends on what you're doing and how you're doing it. What would you say to that, Paula?
I love brands that are aligned. Like if you choose a color, all of the brands just have the same color. If you're going to go for a colorful icon, is all of them colorful, or flat icons or stencil icons? Like with Academy of Entrepreneur as an example, we like the line. So everything we do has lines. So you see Boss Your Future, we've created a logo within words. The AE logo are lines with the A and the E. And then we've got these lines across, and it's all about disruption, breaking the rules of education to empower everyone to be an entrepreneur. So we've used that across all of the message. So if you see Lewis and my business card, you will see that. On our social media, you will see the same style. So I think consistency across it all, the same tone of voice, and adapting a little bit, because if people are scrolling through LinkedIn, Facebook, and maybe Snapchat, they are still seeing your brand, but you'll use like longer sentences or shorter because they are using it at different times of the day. But the best thing is just to look at data. And I know that a lot of people are scared of numbers because we're taught, we're like, oh my God, numbers, math is hard, but it's not. Like Google Analytics or Google Trends, and you can look at Instagram, it gives you instant data. So if you post and within like 2 hours, there's not enough engagement, that means it's not good enough and there's opportunity for you to improve. So you analyze, just go, what have I done that's worked best, and I can do more of that. And it's analyzing things such, at least from my point of view, my experiences, what is the best time to post? Are people scrolling through social media at lunchtime? Is it on the bus on the way to school? Is your target audience to scrolling through Instagram first thing in the morning on a Saturday morning or last thing on a Sunday? And understanding what are they looking for? Because on a Monday, we're looking for different content than we are in lunchtime, that is different content to when we leave school, different content after we've watched maybe television or done our homework, different content of the weekend. So it's obsession with numbers, and these numbers, it's not like you're pulling in a calculator, you have to work out the formula. You just look at the data and just go, I have more male or female from this age in the suburb. If I'm selling my products in, let's say, the Blue Mountains, if I'm getting lots of views in the Northern Beaches, I need to change my tone of voice and my message to attract the audience that I'm going for, the age, where they're located. So yeah, so just have fun and look at, I always say, look at how you can be 1% better every day. 1%. If you can improve 1% every day, you'll be able to achieve so much. So you don't have to go like Fonzie that has almost 2 million followers on TikTok. It's not going to happen overnight. It hasn't happened overnight for him, and it won't happen for you. So look at how can you get a few more likes every day and more engagement and more reshares. But yeah, a lot of it is test and trial, and different brands will react differently. So if you're promoting, let's say, photography business, or you are a ballerina, or you're starting a band with your school colleagues, different businesses will react with different customers and get different results on social media. So you can spend hundreds of hours playing with content and not get the engagement that you wanted because you posted at the wrong time or you didn't use the right song. And platforms like TikTok, for example, it has this crazy algorithm around like the songs and the duration and how much time people spend on it. Instagram is much around the demographic of people that like you within your community and how much time they spend on your page. So also understand that and go online and Google. I always say Google is my best friend. Google solutions, Google Facebook trends, TikTok trends, Instagram trends, and see, because these platforms are always changing. And there's experts on YouTube and podcasts sharing the tips based on these trends. So yeah, that's my little recommendation.
Awesome. There's a follow-up question on that. It says, what advantages do you have as a young person when you're, starting in this space, building your online branding? And how do I maximize on my strengths?
Well, you have youth and energy on your side, and you have enthusiasm and basically no preconceived notions about what you can and you can't do. The world is your oyster. When you get a bit older and you've had life experiences and things happen, and it may sort of jade your view on the world. So I would say it's mindset. You've got at your age, you've got a really great mindset on your side. Paula, what would you say?
We all started at point 0 to 1, all of us. So when Sophie started her PR firm, when I started Academy of Entrepreneurs, we all start. So don't compare yourself too much to others. You can learn and be inspired by others, but we all started at 0. So start today and see how you can become a little bit better every day. And I personally love passionate entrepreneurs, because when someone's selling something to you with passion, and the younger they are, the more we're going to buy from it. So recently, I've had a lot of high school students contacting me with these amazing ideas. And I'm like, I'll be your first customer, because their story inspired me. And they were so passionate that I became passionate. And then I told my friends about it. So I'm helping them grow the business because they have the passion and they have this positive mindset that Sophie's talking about. So just go for it, guys. Go.
Absolutely. Go for it. Go for it. Don't let anyone tell you can't. If you know you can and you believe in it and you're passionate,
and anyone can.
Yeah.
Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, these are free platforms. Anyone can do it.
Yeah.
Anyone. And see your lifestyle. Like, I've been working with some of the biggest TikTokers in the world at the moment, and some of them put the face. Others record what they're seeing. Others reshare other people's content. So so you might not super enjoy having the camera in your front. So you can show, like, I don't know, travel tips of the things that you're recording, or cooking recipes, or classes, ballerina classes that you're teaching someone else, and you can see them, you can teach the world how they are progressing based on the techniques you're showing. So don't worry, you don't have to be super camera friendly to succeed in the online world. Figure out what is your style and how can you communicate, and stick to the same style, and look at how you can improve a little bit every day. But yeah, you guys can change the world. You're so lucky. Social media is just in front of all of us all day long. You can reach anyone. You can create a movement with it, and it's free. Starting a business these days is free. Go and do it. So if you guys want tips on how to start a business, go into the Academy of Entrepreneurs YouTube page and go how to start a business with $0. There's a lot of tips on how you can start, and a lot of it starts from what Sophie's talking to you guys about. It's online branding. So it doesn't matter where you are, what stage of your entrepreneurial journey, start today. Be a creator, be a movement changer, do what you love, and use social media in the online world to start showing what you're offering, because that's the easiest and cheapest way to get attention and get customers into your business.
Fantastic. I think we have reached the hour mark here, but maybe we can just share the slide again. So we just maybe explain what the next presentations are going to be.
Can you click on the next slides for us, please?
Yeah, sure. Okay, there we go.
Just a reminder, so on August 23rd, we're going to be doing a session on LinkedIn. So LinkedIn is very powerful if you're looking for a job and also if you're setting up a business. So please join, because we're going to be covering both topics. We want you to be a creator and a change maker. But if in the meanwhile you still want to apply for a job, the session we're going to be doing is applicable for both. And we have a very special speaker. He was the first person hired by LinkedIn in Australia, and he's going to be sharing all of his best tips with you guys. Then on the 6th of September, we're going to be talking about Instagram and branding, which I don't know about you guys, but we love Instagram at Academy of Entrepreneurs. And the last session, we're going to be bringing in a very famous creator and a YouTuber to talk about how you can become a YouTuber as well. So please join us for all of these sessions. Just log in, ask your teacher, say, I want to come to all of the other ones. And we are live streaming it through YouTube. And today's session is recorded and you guys can watch it again. And then you can also get access to all of the links. Lewis will be putting in the links to the articles that Sophie recommended. So please join us for all of them, because we want to help you guys to shine, succeed, and do what you love.
Can I just finish with the last slide, Paula, which is the one just back here. You're probably wondering why we've got this slide here. I wanted to put in this sort of jungle gym slide because this to me represents my career. So your career, your journey as an entrepreneur is not a ladder. You don't just climb and go up, up, up all the time. You might go up a set of stairs, then you come down a slide, then you go sideways, then you have a bucket of water tipped on your head, then you go up the slide again. So just remember, your journey as an entrepreneur is not linear. There are ups, downs, sideways, forwards, backwards. But you know what? As long as you stay passionate about what it is, what you're doing, your personal and your company brand, you'll get there. So yeah, that's it from me.
100%. And thank you so for making time to be with us.
You.
You're so powerful, important, and busy. Thank you for sharing all of these tips. Thanks. And guys, for those of you, I'm going to tell you guys a little secret. Soph was my teacher at university here in Australia. And she was the one that made me fall in love with the idea of becoming an entrepreneur. So thanks, Soph, for having me.
Oh, my pleasure. My pleasure. Thank you, everyone.
See you guys in a couple of weeks. Bye. See you soon.